Pools away to our right hand side, unchanged if you're just joining us. Maybe you've just turned us on tonight, getting ready for kick-off. Teams on the field, Pools as they were against York. Joel Dixon in goal, a back three of Zach Johnson, Manny Onorise and Joe Mattick. The wing backs of Hasty and Brodie Patterson. Kieran Wallace, captain Nicky Featherstone in midfield, with Tom Crawford on his 100th appearance for the club, playing a little bit further forward with Callum Cook. And then Manny Dizaruwe leading the line up front. Pools' top goal scorer this season with 12, just 2 short of last season's tally when he reached 14 for Halifax. The referee, Jamie O'Connor. The Harriers making 5 changes from their game at the weekend. Amari Morgan-Smith wearing the captain's armband and leading the line up front. 4 goals to his name so far this season. Kidderminster Harriers in possession at the base of their defence, looking for a diagonal ball over the top towards Ryan McLean, but that is cut out by Brodie Patterson. A loose back pass from Kieran Wallace that Joe Mattick has to just look after, and he's being watched closely by 2 red and white shirts as the ball goes behind for a goal kick. And I've just glanced up at the scoreboard and just realised that they hadn't actually started the clock. So there we are. It is very National League this evening. I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean, don't you, Joe?
Yeah. Again, we'll leave it at that.
Yes, absolutely. Joe Ramage from the Hartlepool Mail with us here on BBC Radio T Sport. Callum Cook picks out Jake Hasty in the box. Oh, and he just pulls his left-footed shot wide of the right-hand post. But that was an opportunity, and it was Cook. A hopeful ball inside the box, beautifully plucked out of the air by Hasty, looking to make it 3-3. But on this occasion, curled it the wrong side of the post, took a deflection in fact, and Pools have their first corner of the evening. It comes inside the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, the way the keeper dove to his right, you were just waiting for the net to bustle there, weren't you?
You absolutely were. Corner from Featherstone, right to the front post. It's blocked inside the 6-yard area. Cleared, but only as far as Joe Mattick, who can't control it and bounces up off of him and out for a throw-in. But Jake Hasty, I mean, what a start that would have been if he was able to curl that one into the bottom corner, similar to how he did against York at the weekend.
Yeah, it's remarkable football, isn't it, how things turn, momentum and confidence, things like that. A couple of weeks ago, that if he was in the side, that's not even fallen to him, but suddenly he's back in the team, getting a couple of goals, and he's in the right place at the right time, and that was close. And
he's on the ball again. Hasty, the step overs, drives into the area now, right hand side, but Kidderminster doing well to just try and block him out and see him out, and they do. It's Sammy Robinson back there doing his defensive duties and did well to deal with Hasty. Headed ball forward from Onorise. Back it comes as it hangs up inside the black night sky. Onorise, he's like the little engine that could, isn't he, Manny Onorise, when he gets running? He, like his head chugs, doesn't it, as he tries to break into his stride. He's not the fastest, but he certainly gives it everything when he does break into full stride. Joel Dixon going up long. Manny Dizaruwe tangling with his defender there, but Featherstone wearing the captain's armband with David Ferguson on the bench this evening. Brodie Patterson wide on the left hand side, finds Wallace on the halfway line, and he goes back to Onorise now. Zach Johnson on loan from Sunderland until January. Had the loan extended, and a bit of news coming out of Pools this evening was that Eden Pruti's loan has been extended as well. Pools in possession and moving the ball around really well, but as I say that, Wallace getting caught on the halfway line by Ashley Hemmings and tried the quick throw in, but the referee Jamie O'Connor just pulling it back. And as we tick into fifth minute, if you go by the scorecard, if you go by the big scoreboard, it's been a fairly even start.
The lights have just gone off now.
They have, which doesn't help because I just dropped my pen. It's pitch black. Throw into Kidderminster, right in front of the dugouts. Forward it goes, header infield by Wallace. And now Joel Dixon has it away to our right-hand side. The travelling poolies behind the goal away to our right. There's a fair few number of them. Initially, he was told there's just going to be 70. I mean, there's definitely more than 70 there, isn't there? There's a couple of hundred there. The travelling poolies who showed up en masse in York on Saturday. 1,500 of them in attendance. It was like a home game.
It just shows what a good performance and a result like that can do, because if that went the wrong way, you wonder whether as many might have made the journey down tonight.
Absolutely. But many have. And me and Joe can attest to, it wasn't the most straightforward journey either, was it?
There's not many that are in the National League.
That's a very good point. As Zach Johnson just ushers the ball back to Joe Dixon, all in yellows. He just brushes the ball with the studs underneath his boot and picks out Joe Mattock to his left-hand side. Pools very composed in possession, happy to have it, and Kidderminster happy to let them have it as well. A diagonal ball out to the right-hand side for Hasty. Now Crawford on his 100th appearance. Back to Hasty, wide right-hand side, and now captain Nicky Featherstone joining in the attack. Back to Hasty once more, looking to deliver, and he does, right to the front post and headed out behind for another corner to Hartlepool United, the second of the game, and the second the way of Pools.
Yeah, it's a good ball in. Nice link up again with Nicky Featherstone involved, but Jake Hasty cuts back onto that left-hand side, onto the left foot, sorry. Good cross near post, Diasure close to it.
Nicky Featherstone corner then, this time from the far side. It's going to be an in-swinger. Hangs up to the back post. Dizaruwe is there, heads it goalwards. Cleared inside the 6-yard area. Hooked back into the centre of the goal by Dizaruwe. Crawford's volley is blocked. Falls to Wallace 25 yards out. Squares it to Cook. Shaping to find a way forward. Dizaruwe left-hand side of the penalty area. Pools queuing up, trying to get somebody on the end of it. Cook is trying to find Crawford and does. Now Hasty back to Crawford, who's continued his run low inside the 6-yard area, and it's in. And Hartlepool United have a goal. It looked to have taken a deflection. Crawford is the man celebrating on his 100th appearance for the club. It looked like he got the final touch from a Pools perspective. It wriggled its way past Christian Dibble in the Kidderminster goal. And Pools take the lead inside 7 minutes. Kidderminster 0, Hartlepool United 1. A scrappy goal, but they all count.
Yeah, not many people in the ground seem to know what happened there. I think you were looking at Tom Crawford's reaction, weren't you? But it was good build-up on the edge of the box. You know, they kept possession from the corner, and that's already twice. You know, Diasure has won the ball from a corner. You know, that's something they might be able to attack. But they kept the possession well, worked it from left to right across the box. Crawford followed round. Hasty just laid it after him. Low ball in from the right, and it looked as though it took a little touch at the near post to go over the keeper and into the back of the net. Perfect start again. Another fast start from them. Absolutely,
yeah. Good point. Well, Crawford was the man celebrating. Whether the dubious goals panel will give it to Crawford remains to be seen. But he was certainly the last Pools player to touch the ball. I think it did need a bit of a help.
Yeah, it certainly took
across
a little
the line, didn't it?
You can see it sort of looped just over the sort of the dive of the keeper.
But you're right how you describe it. It was like everybody was looking around thinking, has that gone in or has that gone round the back of the goal? It was far from an obvious one, and especially considering it was happening on the far side of the pitch to us.
I think even the supporters to our right, the Hartlepool fans, they weren't sure. They didn't know whether to celebrate or not. They were waiting for a flag, waiting for the whistle. And you just stood watching Tom Crawford sort of almost antagonising the home fans at the other end. So, but 1-0 and yeah, perfect start for them again.
Wallace at the base of the centre circle on a resay now, spins one out to the right hand side, and Sammy Robinson can't keep it in. It's a throw in to Pools, and Jake Hasty already is causing problems down that right.
Yeah, I mean, I said it already, conference it's a strange thing in football, isn't it? It's a strange thing. I think I remember hearing you speak to Manny Diasure, and he was saying it's like a drug, and you know, really good way to describe it in football terms, you know, because when you've got it, you know, things just happen for you. You're in the right place at the right time, and things go in and things work for you. When you don't, you see what we have seen at times from him. There he goes again, he's beat his man already.
He has, and he skips infield this time, looking to make a different run, and he tries to lay it through to Crawford on the right hand side, but it's intercepted, and Kidderminster can clear deep into the Pools half. Still no confirmation of the goal scorer. I'm trying to find it out as we speak. Even the Kidderminster socials page aren't too sure, but it has been labelled as an own goal. The cross came in from Crawford after good work from Hasty down that right-hand side, but Crawford, the way he continued his run, right round the 18-yard line and on the overlap, made the move. Oh, Cook with the outside of his boot finds Featherstone, who is onside, flicks it through to Desiree inside the area, just gets the angle closed out though, might get a second opportunity. The shot is charged down and blocked, but again, Cook doing very well to try and find a way through, but a rare Kidderminster attack now out on the left-hand side, and Pools need to be careful they don't get caught out here. The shot takes a wicked deflection off of Zach Johnson, I beg your pardon, out for a throw-in. It's actually Hemmings who was looking to make inroads into the penalty area, but his shot from the angle was blocked, and Kidderminster with the throw-in taken quickly. Sam Robinson runs straight into Jake Hasty, who dispossesses him. Pools with the ball right in front of the travelling Poolies, who had a very long view of that opening goal from Pools, right on the other side of the pitch, but they won't care. They've paid the money, they've put the petrol in the cars and in the buses, they've jumped on the trains, they've travelled to follow their team as they always do, the Poolies, and they've been rewarded early on. 11 minutes in, Pools leading by a 1-0 against bottom side Kidderminster, as Brodie Patterson does well to keep that one in and find Manny Desiree, controls it on his chest. Desiree playing against one of his former teams this evening, as Joe Mattock has the ball at the base of the defence. Speaking to one of our colleagues at the BBC previously, who covers Kidderminster Harriers week in, week out, and he joked about, well, if Kidderminster were going to score, they'd have to get out of their own half first, and it's been a bit like that, hasn't it? I mean, there's that attack a few moments ago, but it's been all Pools.
That's another reason why that's the perfect start for Hartlepool, because the longer it goes on, then it becomes a little bit like a chess match like that, doesn't it? So for them to get the start like that, Kidderminster now have to come out if they're going to get something. You spoke about the goal record that they've got, 12 goals I think it is.
12 goals all season in the National League,
They're going to have to come out and do something now, which totally lends itself to Hartlepool on the break. We already saw there a couple of minutes ago, Featherstone, Desiree Lincoln getting in behind, so it's totally set up now to suit how Hartlepool want to play in this game.
Yeah, Kidderminster back in the National League then after promotion last season. Had one win in their first 13 games, but then back-to-back wins against Dorking and Wealdstone, but now without a win in 6, losing their last 4, no goal in their last 2, and they could really do with some points to try and keep them in touch with the pack above them and above the bottom 4. Their chance to attack now on the halfway line, as Bailey Hobson goes back to his centre-back and finds Alex Penny now out to the left-hand side for Robinson, held up by Hemmings, back to goal, just being ushered away by Zach Johnson, and Kidderminster now back into their own half of play, with Pools just shifting across.
Yeah, you can sort of see the lack of confidence from Kidderminster there. I think Hobson, he got free of Featherstone, and the ball was here for McLean to sort of run up against Patterson, and he held onto it a little bit too long and then went out to his right back. So, you know, those are the sort of things, if you're not confident in front of goal, you know, you're a bit hesitant. The ball was there to be played in a bit more an attacking sense, and you were a bit more reserved, weren't they? So
absolutely, and then a diagonal ball which was hitting Hope, and Pools were able to sweep it up and come away with it. It's Kidderminster clear, but it's straight to Mattock, who gets a nudge in the back of his head by Hemmings on the halfway line, and the referee gives a free kick. And Jamie O'Connor, the referee, was having a conversation with him before the game. He was the 4th official at the Barnet game on the first game of the season, and yes, I did tell him that it was in. If you remember that, the goal that wasn't for Pools, he did smile and declined to comment.
Yeah, John Askey wasn't happy that day with the officials, was he?
No. It certainly was a baptism of fire back to the National League, and in all ways and shapes, wasn't it?
But I suppose you look at that result now and you look at what Barnet are doing. It was one of the toughest games that they could have had to come back into the National League as well.
Absolutely. Kidderminster in possession and dispossessed by Callum Cook. Now Featherstone, midway inside the opposition half, tries to find Dizarouwe, just dispossessed though. Crawford closing his man down, intercepting, and Pools trying to latch onto a loose ball as Wallace is diving in. Featherstone slides in as well to win possession. Good teamwork there as Brodie Patterson looks for Dizarouwe but doesn't find him. And now Alex Penny builds the move from the back by Kidderminster. And the ball now at the feet of Sammy Robinson. Got the red socks right wrapped around his ankles. I mean, makes Jack Grealish looks like he wears them high. Penny for Kidderminster, now out to the left-hand side. This is an opportunity for Kidderminster to attack, and the home crowd can sense it. Robinson goes past his man. Hasty gets back at him though, circles back and needs an option. And from an attacking position, Kidderminster have gone all the way back. A shot from distance from Alex Penny, which is hit with hope more than expectation, and goes well wide of the mark. 15 minutes in, Kidderminster 0, Hartlepool United 1. Yeah,
I was just about to say, is somebody going to go and close him down there? They sort of stood right off him, but then if, you know, I suppose you'll accept the centre-back taking a pot shot from 30-odd yards, won't you, if that's going to be the threat for tonight. But you can already sort of see that this game's here for Hartlepool. You know, if they keep their wits about them and don't do anything sort of silly in possession and get a little bit complacent, you can see that this game's here to be won for them, especially with the early lead.
Absolutely. And Lee on X, formerly Twitter, says let's keep this going and put these to bed, don't sit back. Just more of the same, please, which I imagine would be the message from John Askey, but a hopeful ball over the top that Brodie Patterson has to keep an eye on, because McLean has picked up possession and Patterson did well to stand his ground there, and McLean just effectively fell over to give possession away. But then Pools have gifted it back to the Harriers, who make inroads down the right-hand side, and a foul from Brodie Patterson in on Bailey Hobson, and a free kick. Let's go over to Ray Simpson in the National League. I'll tell you what, actually, let's hold that thought. Let's not go yet, because this free kick from Kidderminster is going to be taken very quickly, and it's in a dangerous position. It's Lambert, the former Darlington man, to take it. We'll be over to Ray very shortly.
It was sloppy from Featherstone to give a possession away.
Yeah.
Where they won possession, about to come down this right-hand side.
This is danger, though, for Pools. The free kick from Lambert, wide on the right-hand side, about 2 yards in from the touchline. Whipped in with pace to the back post, a free header from Penny, and he puts it over the crossbar and behind. Kidderminster 0, Hartlepool United 1. Let's go over to the National League North, and Ray Simpson watching Darlington against Warrington Town. Ray.
17 minutes gone. It's Darlington 1, Warrington Town 0, and Quakers deservedly in the lead. They've gone close twice early on through Cameron Selkeld and Will Hatfield, and they've been exploiting Warrington down this right-hand side, and a good cross came in from Callum Griffiths on 15 minutes into the near post, and there was Jarrett Rivers with the stooping header about 6 yards out to beat the keeper in the top of the net. It's Darlington 1, Warrington 0.
What a start that is for Darlington, much needed as well, leading by 1-0 here in the National League. Kidderminster Harriers 0, Hartlepool United 1 on BBC Radio T Sport, on 95 FM, DAB Digital Radio, Freeview 722, and online via BBC Sounds and the BBC Football website. Thank you for being with us, however you're choosing to listen tonight. And so far, so good for Pools, thanks to an own goal. And now Callum Cook, a little shift from left to right to open the space up in the centre of the pitch. Now Wallace has the ball, bang centre of the pitch, and it's all very static, isn't it, from both sets of teams. Although Pools have possession, there's very little movement in front of them. Featherstone has won the ball, and worry from Kidderminster here because Omari Morgan-Smith has stayed down, but Pools continue to attack with Featherstone. Morgan-Smith now back up on his feet, but limping very heavily. Crawford out to the right hand side is Hasty, just hugging the touchline. Skips infield now, floats one into the area, but it's over the top of Dizarouwe and easily headed clear But a loose ball might just open it up for Cook. Bounces away from him. And Harriers, every clearance is going to a Pools shirt. That time Kieran Wallace. Now to Cook. Back to Brodie Patterson, who's continued his run. Just overhit and overplayed. And this time, Kidderminster go long on a reset. Heads it back the way it came. Joe Mattick does well to just stem the flow momentarily. Stopping Hemmings and forcing him backwards a few yards. Now Sam Robson. Wide on the left. It's Kidderminster now, Paul bodies forward, but at present it's bark and no bite, isn't it, from the home side?
It's just turned very sloppy, hasn't it, the game? It's, I mean,
as you say, that the ball's clipped out of play by McLean for Kidderminster.
Yeah, I mean, that's not. I don't even think that's a hopeful ball down the line. He's just clipped it straight out of play from a yard away. It's gone sloppy from both teams at the minute.
And Pools very much 20 minutes in, 1-0 lead. They look comfortable, but at times you just feel they could shift up a gear or two.
That's exactly what I mean. Like when I said a couple of minutes ago that they've got complacency is going to be a big issue for them here, because you can see that when they're knocking it around, they're a better side than Kidderminster. So with that lead as well, you just don't jeopardise it. You know, you've got to make sure that you protect the ball, good in possession. You know, if you get a second goal here, that probably kills the game. So you've just got to keep the wits about themselves here.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And not give any set pieces away. You know, we saw there. I mean, that was a bit of a let-off, truth be told.
Yeah, and we know how Hartlepool United have struggled defensively with set pieces this season. So that is something that they will have to be mindful of. John Askey away to our left, right on the edge of his technical area, barking instructions onto the pitch, as he so often does. As Callum Cook just loses out in midfield, the referee says play on, and Kidderminster on the attack down the right-hand side. And now McLean at the byline. Brodie Patterson is with him. The cross to the back post is over everybody. And Jake Hasty has gone in on his man, but nothing given. Robinson into the box once more, headed away by Wallace. Space opening up for Kidderminster. The shot that's crowded out, and Featherstone can pick it up and try and get it away. But the feeling that Pools got away with one there, perhaps.
A little bit. You could see the arm go out in the back, but at the same time, he did probably go down a little bit easy for me. It's one of those where, if you're a Kidderminster fan, it's definitely a penalty, I think. But from Hartlepool perspective, it would have been very, very soft. Yeah,
there's a few fans in and around us, Joe. Who, I mean, we are right in and amongst it, aren't we, this evening? Oh, diagonal ball from Callum Cook to try and pick out Hasty. Can't get there at the first attempt, and then is crowded out as Kidderminster work the ball back to goalkeeper Christian Dibble. 6 clean sheets so far this season for the Harriers goalkeeper. Certainly more than Pools have mustered. Just the 1 clean sheet this season. Was very nearly 2 on Saturday, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the one thing that frustrated John Askey, wasn't it? He let us know at the end of the game.
Brodie Patterson heads it back to Mattick. But Pools just architects of their own downfall at the minute. Now, Hemmings rolls his studs over the top of the ball, whips it into the 6-yard area. That was a good cross, and Dixon is able to gather it. Morgan Smith was arriving, but just couldn't get the final touch on it. But it was a good cross from wide on this right-hand side. Just lacking that killer instinct inside the area. Yeah, but
like you say, Hartlepool almost inviting that on themselves, just a little bit careless with the ball, and then a little bit sluggish to try and win it back, and that's just going to encourage Kidderminster to come onto it.
Especially down this right-hand side, they're getting a lot of joy as Crawford latches onto a deep ball, and a ball that ends up hitting the base of the post from a wide angle. Crawford can't believe it, because that would have been an unbelievable goal. It was a hopeful ball over the top. Crawford racing onto what looked like a lost cause, but then saw the goalkeeper off his line, tried to lift it over him. Christian Dibble seemed confident in the fact that the ball was going to drop wide, and instead it clattered off the base of the post.
When it was in the air, I was like, I saw what the goalkeeper was. He seemed so sure that was going to go either over or well wide. You kind of go along with that, but then you see the trajectory of the ball and you think that's not far away, that, and then it hit the base of the post. But a terrific effort from Tom Crawford, because he's gone for that. He's seen that, because there was nobody up with him.
Crawford is playing like a man who wants to score emphatically on his 100th appearance as Brodie Patterson and Cook link up well on the touchline. Now into Crawford, thinks about the shot, instead lays it into the path of Jake Hasty, running at his man inside the area to the byline. He breaks, gets a second opportunity after Robinson blocked the initial move. Back now to Wallace, now Featherstone into the area once more, but it's just away from Crawford, and the red and white shirts of Kidderminster can swarm over it and complete the clearance up to the halfway line for Morgan Smith, who does well to control it on his chest, but was being pulled by Zach Johnson, and it's a free kick to the home side on the halfway line. But Tom Crawford, well, we know he's scoring more goals this season than any other season in his professional career. 4. He was the architect of the own goal early on, and almost, by fault or by design, almost scored a worldie, but denied by the framework. 25 minutes in, BBC Radio T Sport, this National League fixture. Kidderminster Harriers against Hartlepool United. The team bottom of the table against the team hoping to make it back-to-back away wins in the league for the first time this season, which tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, I was surprised when I looked that up earlier yesterday when I was doing the research. I thought, when was the last time Pools had back-to-back away wins this season? Thought, oh, hang on a minute, they haven't done it yet.
But even like going back to just back-to-back wins in general, you've got to go back to August.
Yeah.
And that kind of tells you how much they have dropped off over the last 2 months. But then within saying that, they're only sort of 5 points from the playoffs, which tells you that there is, like what John Askey said on Saturday, I think it is much of a muchness in this league. You know, if they can get on a bit of a run, they will be right back up there because of that form. They should be a little bit further away than what they are, if we're being truthful. Absolutely.
Meanwhile, elsewhere in the National League, Bromley leading Aldershot 2-0. And of course, Bromley come to town on Saturday. Every kick of that one with us on BBC Radio T Sport and DAB Digital Radio. Jake Hasty running at the defence once more down the right-hand side. Tries to find Crawford on the 18-yard line. But again, the line's cleared by the home side.
They're getting some joy down that right-hand side, though. Crawford overlapping with Jake Hasty. That seems to be an avenue that's working for them in this first half so far.
Yeah, it's perhaps in the game against York City, I know it's one thing that Craig Hignett, our summariser on Saturday, mentioned, was that Hasty was getting joy, but wasn't being exploited enough. A ball over the top from Cook to Hasty once more at the byline, manages to keep it in, then tries to nutmeg his man, but is denied by Sammy Robinson. And Pools see the ball drop out of play for a throw-in to the Harriers midway inside their own half. Yeah, it was sort of aimed at the team that, although Hasty got in down that right-hand side for that opening goal, they didn't go back to that too many times.
No, a lot of it came over to the left, didn't it?
Yeah. Whereas this,
Callum Cook was drifting over to the left quite a lot.
Whereas this evening, you can see clear as day.
Yeah.
Pools have identified that right-hand side to try and get at Kidderminster, and it is working.
Yeah, I mean, it's where the goal came from, like you say. It's where the goal on Saturday came from as well, and that was a similar ball to what we've just seen from Cook there, where it's sort of into his feet first time, and he just turns it round the corner for him to go and run onto, and that is, you know, they're going to get joy again with that, with Hasty's pace going up against the fullback.
Going back to that Bromley game, by the way, as I say, Pools host Bromley on Saturday in the National League. Bromley were 2-0 up inside 3 minutes. That's worrying, isn't it?
But then if you win this and you go into that on the back-to-back wins, you know, it changes everything. You know,
yes.
All of a sudden that becomes a game where you think, well, let's go and have a go at them. Let's show what we're about.
They are one of the informed teams, aren't they, Bromley? Meanwhile, Eastleigh 1, Boreham Wood 1. And York leading Oxford City by 2-0. While here, Kidderminster 0, Hartlepool United 1. Those are the only scores so far this evening in the National League. Keep you up to date in the National League North with Darlington against Warrington Town and Farnsley Celtic against Spennymoor as well. Darlington leading Warrington Town by 1-0, and it's Farnsley Celtic 0, Spennymoor Town 0, as Crawford does well to win it in midfield and get past two red and white shirts, still going inside the box and drops down, and it's not a penalty, it's a free kick instead. For a minute there, I was just wondering which way the referee was going to point, but he pointed, the way of Kidderminster.
Crawford started this game very well. He's all over that front line, isn't he?
Yeah, he is a nuisance to the Kidderminster defence, isn't he, at present? He is playing like a man possessed, Tom Crawford.
You do just wonder, like with that milestone of the 100 games, you wonder whether that just gives you that bit of added confidence.
Must do, shouldn't it?
You would think so, yeah.
Think so. As a player, I mean, me and you have never played the game like this, but I mean, if you were going into it and they said, Joe, this is your 100th article for the Hartlepool Mail, although it'd be more like your 100,000th article, shot from distance for Kidderminster that Joe Dixon has to just palm behind for a corner to the home side. Their first corner of the evening, but you would write it with a bit more vigour, wouldn't you? If you'd write it with a bit more oomph about it, knowing that it was a milestone. Yeah,
there's a sense of achievement in it, isn't there, you know, and he's openly said quite a few, you know, he's got a lot of affiliation for this club, you know, and to make 100 appearances, like you say, mark it with this, he'll claim the goal, whether it'll go to him or not. But
corner for Kidderminster, flicked onto the front post and in, and Kidderminster Harriers have an equaliser on the half-hour mark, and it's Rhys McNally who scores it. And yet again, Hartlepool United done by a set piece, all too easily. The runner wasn't tracked. It was a free header flicked on and buried into the back of the net to give Kidderminster an equaliser. It's one apiece.
Set pieces again. You know, you can already see what John Ashley's going to say full time, because we've heard it week in, week out, but it's still happening. It's still happening, you know. And I said it before with a free kick down this right hand side, if you give them an incentive, if you give them any sort of encouragement to just get a ball in the box with a team that's not scoring goals openly or freely, you know, that is going to be the avenue that they're probably going to try and look to exploit, and they've done it. And it was just he was almost unmarked at the front post, just a free corner into the near post, flicks it on, and simple as you like, you know. Really, really poor, really poor.
Well, what did you say, Joel, right at the beginning after Pools had scored? They can't lose concentration. They can't think this is done. And all of a sudden, that goal just sparks a bit of life into the crowd and into the team as well.
It's a big man. He got on the end of the free ball into the box, and they get.
Well, this makes things interesting, doesn't it?
You can see John Askey talking to Tony Sweeney down there. You know, look, you can see the anger in it. Because it is every week. And, you know, you must think it's not as though they're not on the training ground doing set pieces, and yet it's still continuing to happen. And they're the basics at any level. Yeah. They're the basics at any level to clear your box from set pieces, and yet they're getting undone by them every week.
And Kidderminster in possession, midway inside the Pools half. Infield now to Kai Lissimore. Now McNally. Wide on his right-hand side, skipping past Cook. Back to Lissimore once more. And now to McLean. Tries to drive past Brodie Patterson and then ends up seeing the ball skip off his own foot and out for a goal kick, and that chance goes begging. Yes, a penny for the thoughts of John Askey, who, looking at him, Joe, still can't believe it. You can see him in conversation with his coaching staff, Mark Goodlad and Anthony Sweeney.
But they have kind of just stepped off it though, you know, like sort of from about 20 minutes, last 10-15 minutes, they have just taken the foot off the gas a little bit, and like I said, they've just allowed Kidderminster just to go on a little bit of confidence and just try and get set pieces, try and work the ball down the lines and get throw-ins and things like that, where you can just cause a little bit of confusion in the box. It's just inviting it.
Well, Brodie Patterson is down now because the ball was clattered into his face from close range. And just confirmation, Amari Morgan-Smith, the goal scorer at the front post. I thought I saw Rhys McNally celebrating it, but it was Morgan-Smith. So his 5th goal of the campaign, while Brodie Patterson gets some treatment. Just brushing down his face with the front of his shirt. And here's a throw-in on this near side. You can see John Askey during that break-in play, Joe, absolutely going through one or two in the Pools shirt. How to fix a problem like set pieces at Pools, eh?
Like you say, it just makes you wonder what's happening, because it's not as though they're going to be in training, like I said, not doing the set pieces. They'll be doing that every week, and for whatever reason it's just not going through. And at what point do you look to change things? But then saying that, he's changed things anyway. There's players being brought in, Joe Maddock on loan, Zach Johnson on loan, players brought in the summer, and the same things are happening. Doesn't matter which personnel are in there.
I remember speaking to Ronnie Moore many moons ago when he was Pools manager, and about players at certain levels and whatnot, and the one thing that the way he described it was, he said, Premier League, you have to tell a player once. Championship player, you might have to remind them once or twice. He says when you get down to this level, you have to remind them constantly, and that's the difference, is the intake of the information and how that information is then retained and put into practice.
But at some point you've got to think as a player, you take a bit of responsibility yourself, where you say, right, I'm going to go and pick this man up, and I'm going to make sure that he's not going to get on the end of this cross into the box. I mean, we're talking about confidence, things like that. Yes, we're at the point now where it's clearly playing on them mentally, in terms of when set pieces are in and around the box, there is a fragility to them, and like I say, teams are, they're blatantly targeting that. We said, I think it was down at Aldershot, they targeting the wings just to get crosses into the box. But set pieces, well, if you get a set piece against Hartlepool, you're going to have a chance, and it is a big problem.
Yeah, you do wonder if almost there's like a collective puff of the cheeks every time Pools concede a set piece or a corner of any sort. And Kidderminster on the attack once more, through ball into the area. It could get worse for Pools, but a big save from Joel Dixon, and it was McLean who broke through. A beautiful ball played through to him at the angle, still had a lot to do. Joel Dixon came out, made himself big, and McLean tried to just slip it through his legs, but Dixon wise to it. That was a huge opportunity for the home side to take the lead.
He should score for me, Rob. He should score. It's a really good ball inside of Patterson, and then he's in on goal. He almost looks to check back, like you say, he tries to trick Dixon, go through the legs rather than go for the corner. But Hartlepool have gone all to pot here. From being in so much control of this game, they've invited it on, they've conceded now, and then they are very lucky not to fall behind there.
It was a lovely weighted through ball, wasn't it, that just split the Pools defence completely.
Yeah, I think it was Lambert. He's the one who's causing quite a few problems.
I was surprised Pools didn't look at Lambert, when he was at Darlington, scoring 15-16 goals from midfield.
Keep him locally as well, it might,
Yeah, Newcastle lad. I was surprised to see him, that Pools didn't look at that one, but now he's playing for Kidderminster and feeding balls through to Ryan McLean, whose shot was saved at nigh on point-blank range. But that could be a big moment in this game, as Crawford wins possession on the halfway line and then is brushed off the ball by Sammy Robinson, who goes back to his goalkeeper, and the home support like that. They're growing steadily into this game, aren't they, Kidderminster? And Hartlepool United are drifting more and more away from it.
Yeah. John Askey won't be happy with this. Considering the start, he'll not be happy with how the last 20 minutes, I'd say, have gone. Whether it's complacency, like what I've said, or what, he'll not be happy with where this half's panned out.
Well, just over 5 minutes to go until half-time, so John Askey can get his players together and maybe just clean out some wax in the ears, as the referee is getting a few pelters from the home crowd because of a decision. He's given a Pools throw-in when the home fans think it should have been a throw-in to Kidderminster. Instead, Brodie Patterson tosses it back in play, and Cook gets a shove from behind by Bailey Hobson, and it is a free kick to Pools just beyond the visiting dugout, away to our left-hand side. Nicky Featherstone stood over the ball. High defensive line from the Harriers. See Morgan Smith A striker sprinting back there to get in position, pushing and shoving with Tom Crawford. Featherstone to drop this one into the area. Oh, instead he clips it out to the left-hand side for Cook. That move doesn't quite come off. Space opens up for Featherstone though, circles away from his marker. Back out to Cook, wide on the left. He comes infield and finds Crawford into Featherstone inside the box, and again just crowded out at the vital moment. Intercepted, and Kidderminster are able to clear. A sliding challenge from Crawford, and Pools win it back inside the centre circle. Good combination play there from Wallace and Cook, and Pools have it. Wallace, just his second start since September. His move from Mansfield in the summer has been plagued with injuries, but against York on Saturday, he was one of the standout performers. Out to the right for Jake Hasty, who's had less of the ball in the last few moments. Comes infield and finds Featherstone. Played into the path of Joe Mattock, who's up joining in the attack. Brodie Patterson out to Cook. This is flowing football from Pools, but they're having to try and navigate a sea of red and white in front of them. Cook, Crawford lifted over the top, headed away, might fall for Dizarouwe, but then he is out-muscled and outnumbered as Kidderminster clear into the Pools half, and it is going to be a throw-in to John Askey's men inside their own half. So during half-time, Mark Drury will give you a full roundup of all the half-time scores from elsewhere in the National League. Updates as well from Ray Simpson, who's watching Darlington against Warrington Town. We'll keep you across Farsley Celtic against Spennymoor, all in the National League North. Here it's one apiece. Kidderminster 1, Pools 1. Pools taking the lead early on, inside 7 minutes, after some good combination between Crawford and Hasty. Oh, now Manny on the Onarise is given possession away, and McNally can run at the defence. Now to Hobson, just has to double back on himself. And Pools are able to get bodies back to defend that.
It's careless again though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That turnover in possession.
It is too just lackadaisical, isn't it? It's... You get the sense that Pools are playing in second gear and they need to shift up a couple. As Hasty runs into trouble and is dispossessed and falls down but doesn't get a free kick. Harriers in possession. It's remarkable how this game started to how it is now, 2.5 minutes from half time.
Yeah, it's completely flipped, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And I've said it a few times already in this first half, but the only thing you could put it down to will be complacency. You know, that they've started, they've got the goal, and then they think, yeah, we've got this game here. For them just to ease off, you know, that mental shift, and you know, this is what's happening. And at the minute, you know, that they need to get in at half time, and to be honest, they need to hear the tongue of John Askey, because they just need to reset and get back to what they were doing the first 15 minutes, because they were in total control of the game.
Well, that goal for Kidderminster, the equalising goal, was just their 13th of the season, to put it into some sort of perspective.
I mean, the one thing you would say from that is, if you can get another goal, then the likelihood is that, you know, you shouldn't be conceding multiple goals against a side who are struggling to score this season. But again, that was another cheap giveaway there. I think it was Kieran Wallace. Yeah,
and then Featherstone won it back out to Hasty. Now Crawford, Joe Mattock calling for it again, joining the attack from defence, trying to provide the extra body going forward. Brodie Patterson wide on the left hand side, doesn't get a chance to get his cross in. He's been watched very closely. Now Wallace finds Crawford, but does he just get a whack in the back? He stayed down, Crawford, and Kidderminster can bring it away. Oh, intercepted well and read by Zach Johnson. Goes past one and another, and another for good measure. Keeps going to Zach Johnson. I think he thought Jake Hasty was out to his right and then realised Hasty was about 10 yards behind him. Cook, the space he normally likes to operate in, the little pockets, about 25 yards out of goal.
Yeah, it hasn't really come off for him tonight after Saturday.
And now Rhys McNally trying to start an attack for the home side. McLean back to McNally on the halfway line. Needs an option and has to go back to his defence. into the final minute of the first 45. Kidderminster Harriers 1, Hartlepool United 1 on BBC Radio T Sport, on all frequencies and online via the BBC Sport website. As the home side enjoy a bit of possession, but it's all inside their own half. And you'd think, as John Askey stands in his technical area, arms folded and that stern look across his brow, you'd think, as Joe Mattock goes in late on his man, Matt Preston, who stayed down, and I think Joe Mattock will end up in the referee's book.
Yeah, he'll do well to avoid a yellow there. It was late, wasn't it?
The football officials indicated a minimum of 3 minutes added time. That's a minimum of 3 minutes added time.
So 3 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half, and there is the confirmation of the yellow card for Joe Mattock, who just completely wiped out his man.
Yeah, it was one of them. The ball went just before he hit the man, didn't he? So it was, yeah, no complaints there, yellow card.
Well, you think John Askey just can't wait to get his side in at half-time to try and rejuvenate them, re-energise them in some way. And the free kick taken short. Jack Lambert looking to try and feed a way through as he zigs and he zags out to the right-hand side. A little chop behind his standing leg, and it's a throw-in that's gone against Pools, much to the disgust of Callum Cook. Taken quickly by Kidderminster. Hobson back to Alex Penny, and now Matt Preston gets a few moans and groans his way after going back to his goalkeeper from the halfway line. It's been an evening that has twisted and turned without too many thrills and spills, though.
Yeah, it's been strange, just the whole atmosphere about it. It's
very flat,
yeah,
isn't it?
It's felt a bit like a pre-season game at times.
McNally running at the defence. Pools trying to stay with him as he turns back on himself. McNally now to Robinson. Studs on top of the ball, drives infield towards the D, but crowded out by Brodie Patterson and Nicky Featherstone. Now Lambert looks to try and feed McLean, but Brodie Patterson again just puts his body between man and ball, and it's out for a goal kick. But a good battle between those two in this first half, the two number 19s.
They're standing off a little bit though. You know, the ball came back, I think it was McNally there, and he had a lot of time and space to pick the ball out or run at the defence. There was no one sort of coming to confront him, and you're only sort of, 25-30 yards from your own goal there. And again, this is a side who you would think would be low on confidence given where they're at in the division, and it's just another case of just allowing them to grow a little bit more in confidence.
Nicky Featherstone in possession, looking for a ball long deep into the opposition half. Manny Desirue able to get a final touch as many in and around the ground head for their half-time refreshments. Into the final minute of the 3 minutes of stoppage time. Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1, as we tick round to the break. And there is the half-time whistle blown by Jamie O'Connor. It is a game that started with Hartlepool United in the ascendancy. A shot from Jake Hasty, which was blocked from close range to force a corner after he got in at an acute angle but couldn't find the back of the net. But the deadlock broken after 7 minutes when Crawford and Hasty combined well. Crawford wide on the right-hand side, drilled a low cross into the 6-yard area that took a deflection off a Kidderminster man and trickled painfully into the back of the net to give the visitors the lead. But from then, it's the home side that have really grown into the game and had their opportunities and been kept at bay really by Joel Dixon in the Pools goal. But again, that resistance was broken on the half-hour mark from a set piece, which is a common occurrence for Pools this season. Corner whipped into the front post, and it was the number 9, the striker, Amari Morgan-Smith, wearing the captain's armband this evening, and a captain's example to nudge the ball into the back of the net to give the home side the level pegging in the game. And then an opportunity again for Kidderminster to take the lead. A reverse ball played in by Lambert. Ryan McLean in through on goal, 1v1 against Joel Dixon. Tried to just put it underneath and through the legs of Dixon, but Dixon did well to make himself big and make a vital save to keep Pools level at half-time. Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1. Joe, your thoughts on the first 45?
Yeah, it's just one of frustration really, because for me this game could have been put to bed at half-time. You know, the way that the game started, you know, getting that goal in front, the confidence from Saturday, you could see them popping at the ball quite nicely, all wanting to be on the ball, all making runs forward. It was there for them to really go and kick on and maybe get a couple of goals, you know, and win this game quite convincingly. Got midway through the first half though, they invited a couple of set pieces. Started with a free kick down on this right hand side after I think it was Nicky Featherstone gave the ball away. Missed a free header from that, you know, so that was a bit of a let off, but they didn't really learn from that, and they've just allowed, I think it was Jack Lambert, he's the one who's been quite busy for Kidderminster, and he's making things happen. I think it was his shot that won the corner. Set piece again, you know, if John Askey's sick of saying it, I think we're sick of saying it as well, you know, just not picking the man up at the front post. And then, as you said, they could have gone 2-1 down as well, so you could almost argue they're a little bit fortunate to get in at 1-1 at the break, which is quite extraordinary to think about after the sort of first 10-15 minutes. So a lot to ponder in there for John Askey, and he won't be happy.
So, Mark, after a bright start, Hartlepool United undone yet again by a set piece. John Askey will be tearing his hair out and no doubt giving a few hairdryer treatments, I would suspect, in the dressing room at half-time. It is Kidderminster Harriers 1, Hartlepool United 1.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Joe Ramage, as well. Second half commentary to come from the pair of them as Hartlepool United look to get back in front, having conceded that first half equaliser. All the scores to come from around the country and indeed Europe after this.
Stockton Sparkles
with BBC Radio Tees. Are you ready for the festive season? I know I am.
Gary Phillipson.
Come and join me on Stockton High Street this Thursday for the launch of Stockton Sparkles. I'll be there with Dan Westwood and get this, Santa himself. So get yourself down for an evening of live music, entertainment and a good old sing-along under the legendary Singing Christmas Tree with a 50-strong community choir. And it's all happening Stockton High Street this Thursday from 5:30 with a Christmas light switch on at 6:30.
Stockton Sparkles with BBC Radio Tees. Proud to follow Hartlepool United.
BBC Radio Tees
Sport.
This is Mark Drury and you're listening to BBC Radio Tees Sports. Around the country then, in the National League, these are the half-time scores. Bromley are leading Aldershot by 2-0, while it's Eastleigh 1, Boreham Wood 1. Goalless between Ebbsfleet and Maidenhead. Fylde 1-0 in front at FC Halifax. And in our commentary game, it is Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1.
Hasty, back to Crawford, who's continued his run, low inside the 6-yard area, and it's in! And Hartlepool United have a goal. It looked to have taken a deflection. Crawford is the man celebrating on his 100th appearance for the club. It looked like he got the final touch from a Pools perspective. It wriggled its way past Christian Dibble in the Kidderminster goal. And Pools take the lead inside 7 minutes. Kidderminster 0, Hartlepool United 1. A scrappy goal, but they all count. Corner for Kidderminster, flicked onto the front post and in! And Kidderminster Harriers have an equaliser on the half-hour mark. And it's Rhys McNally who scores it. And yet again, Hartlepool United done by a set piece, all too easily. The runner wasn't tracked. It was a free header flicked on and buried into the back of the net to give Kidderminster an equaliser. It's one apiece.
Second half commentary to come from Agborough then. Elsewhere, Rochdale are leading Altrincham by 1-0 with 10 minutes to go to half-time at Spotland. It's Solihull Moors 0, Gateshead 2 at the break, Woking 0, Chesterfield 1 and York 2, Oxford City 0. International League North, where Alfreton and Chester are drawing 1 each at the break. Banbury did trail Bishop Stortford by a goal to 0, but they've just equalised. Banbury 1, Bishop Stortford 1. It's Blythe 0, Chorley 1, and goalless between Boston and Rushall. It's Buxton 1, Hereford 0, and Darlington lead Warrington by a goal to 0 at Blackwell Meadows at the break. We'll have a half-time report to come from Ray Simpson shortly. Spennymoor are drawing 0-0 at Farsley. Gloucester against Peterborough Sports was postponed. Scarborough 1, Kings Lynn 0, Scunthorpe 0, Southport 0, goalless between South Shields and Curzon Ashton, and Tamworth against Brackley. There's one game in League One tonight where it's Leyton Orient 0, Lincoln 0 at the break. And in the European Championship qualifiers, Israel lead 1-0 in Andorra. It's Croatia 1, Armenia 0, Gibraltar 0, the Netherlands 3, Greece 0, France 1, Kosovo 0, Belarus 1, Romania 0, Switzerland 0, and Wales 1, Turkey 0.
We're as passionate as you are.
BBC Radio T's Sport.
Right, let's get a half-time report from Blackwell Meadows, where Darlington are playing Warrington. Ray Simpson is there.
Half-time here at Blackwell Meadows. It's Darlington 1, Warrington 0, and a good first half for Quakers. They could have had more than the one goal they've scored. They played some good football. They put Warrington under pressure inside their own half, and that has paid dividends at times. They had the game's opening chance when Ben Headley played the ball forward at Cameron Salkeld, who turned quickly on the edge of the area and put a left foot shot over the top, and then Headley found Will Hatfield 18 yards out, and his left foot effort was held by Atherton. Quakers won possession inside the Warrington last third, and between them Salkeld and Hatfield set up Colin Griffiths, whose right foot shot was deflected just wide of the post. Adriano Moki won the ball again in midfield on 9 minutes and set up Hatfield, whose right foot shot went over the top from 30 yards. But Warrington replied against a run of play when Bowen Dixon picked the ball up on the left, held off two challengers, and struck a right foot shot that grazed the crossbar. But Quakers took a deserved lead on 15 minutes. The ball was played out to the right for Griffiths, who once again was up supporting his attack. He played a good cross into the near post for Jarrett Rivers to be the keeper with a stooping header for his first goal of the season. Warrington tried to hit back, and a long ball forward found Connor Woods, whose low shot was blocked by Taylor at his near post. Quakers put the Warrington back four under pressure on 27 minutes, and when Atherton hesitated, Salkeld dispossessed him, but from a very tight angle he struck the post. When Quakers were forced on the defensive themselves, they put in some good tackles, one in particular by Morkey on Dixon 25 yards out, and then Jasm Suka on his return to the side in the league stopped Woods with a good challenge a few yards out. Half time, Darlington 1, Warrington 0.
There you go then, Ray Simpson with the news from Blackwell Meadows. And the news for the Quakers is good, and hopefully it continues into the second half. Dean's been in touch with us on X at BBC T Sports. He says it's Groundhog Day. Should have been 2 up before the equaliser. It's worrying how confidence has taken a hit as well, but that is Pools. Hopefully we'll come out in the second half on the front foot and get ahead. Come on, Pools, he says. Borough fans, if you weren't with us earlier this evening, my special guest between 6 and 7 o'clock was Middlesbrough's head of football, Kieran Scott. He was here in the studio. If you want to go to BBC Sound, you can listen again now. And at BBC T Sport on X, there's a link there as well to listen to the interview. Covered lots of ground, lots to do with signings, of course, and Michael Carrick and the starts of the season and promotion chances, loads in there, so I highly recommend it. I mean, I did the interview, but you know what I mean. It is worth going to listen to. So at BBC T Sport on X, or you can go to BBC Sounds and listen again. Now, England topped their group in European Championship qualifying, played their final game last night in North Macedonia, a 1-1 draw. Kyle Walker captained his country for the first time and was proud to do so.
When the manager pulled me and told me that I'd be leading the team out, obviously I'm doing that for Manchester City now, but to do it for my country, is a real big step in, the right direction, and another thing I've ticked off my list.
Yeah, so a lovely night from that point of view, but there then followed a rather frustrating evening, didn't it?
Yeah. You've seen what, obviously, I think that the game at Old Trafford that we played against them, you know, we was in flowing football and every shot that we had went in the back of the net. Tonight was a different night. Tonight was, you know, one where we had to be patient and try and break them down. You know, they've got a back five and it's always going to be tough, but that's no excuse, as we know that we should be coming here, taking 3 points, getting on the plane back home and, you know, celebrating, qualifying, you know, with, you know, a good end to the campaign. But listen, we've qualified, and let's not underestimate that. We've qualified for a major tournament once again, and that's what we needed to really do, and we've done at the start of the campaign.
Listen, I know Harry Maguire was maybe a little fortunate not to concede a penalty, but after that, and certainly the penalty that was given to North Macedonia, you know, there was some. It felt like a great deal went against you tonight. Is that how you're feeling?
I mean, sometimes you don't know what you can say and you can't say. I played with Rico at club level, and Rico won't mind me this, he's not the tallest. So for him to jump without using his arms when he's got his back to the striker, for him to then give a penalty, I find it very harsh. I don't know what else he can do if he jumps with his hands beside him. He's already got a disadvantage of being smaller than the striker's got the run upon him. So he has to use some sort of, you know, of his body to protect him from, you know, the ball. But the referees gave it. I can't criticise the referee. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to play football and win games. But I did think it was a little bit harsh, yes.
And just one other thing, I mean, you're an ideal man to talk about, you know, at the end of last season when you got the Premier League won.
Yeah.
And for Manchester City, there is naturally a bit of a drop-off, isn't it? That happens. Yeah. And is that, you think, what's happened with England as well? Because the job's done, the group's been won.
I don't think there's really been a drop-off. There's been a good win against Malta, OK. If we go and score 8, everyone says, yeah, you should have gone and scored 8. If we don't score 8, it's a problem. So it's 3 points, never mind if it's 8 or 1-0. It's still 3 points on the board. We know coming here we should win. We should win, but the games, you know, the campaign or the group has wrapped up, and it was always going to be a difficult one. But I said at the start of the team talk that it's about a mentality now. We've got the group of players that we've had for a number of years now. We're all mature. We've all been in big situations, you know, whether it's Champions League finals, fighting for Premier Leagues, semi-finals of a World Cup, finals of the Euros. Now it's about a mentality. Now it's about mentality on the field and off the field to make sure that we take this country to, you know, where it deserves, and that's to, you know, hopefully, you know, picking up that European trophy. Sorry.
There's Kyle Walker, who captained England for the first time in his career last night in Macedonia. A 1-1 draw. That means they went through the European Championship qualifying campaign undefeated. They'll be one of the top seeds in the pot for Germany next summer.
BBC Radio T's Breakfast.
With Amy Oakton.
How do you sleep? Do you sleep dressed?
Very well, thank you. The question you're getting to, yeah, I don't wear anything.
55% of us sleep in the nuddy, even during the winter, because you get a much better sleep and your body temperature is more regulated.
I did once have a bit of an issue, right? We got a heated blanket a couple of years ago that goes on the bottom of the mattress, right? And I turned it up to number 3, right, which is the hottest setting, and I didn't realise it was when we had that really cold snap last year. Things were hot.
You grilled in the morning.
It was very odd, like a barbecue sausage.
Oh no!
I don't know why I said that.
BBC Radio T's Breakfast.
With Amy Oakton.
Weekday mornings from 6.
We're as passionate as you are.
BBC Radio T's.
OK then, you are fully in the picture as far as scores go around the country and indeed the continent, but the one that Hartlepool United fans care about is at Agborough, where it is 1-1 going into the second half. A Rhys McNally own goal put Pools in front. Amari Morgan-Smith equalised. What does the second half have in store for us? Well, the Hartlepool Mills' Joe Ramage and BBC Radio T Sports' Rob Law will put you in the know.
Hopefully more entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, if you
more
can rustle some up
than we had in the first half, that's for sure, because it was pretty dire at times.
Yeah, do what you can, fellas. Thanks.
Yes, you enjoy the nice warm studio, Mark. Hartlepool United make their way out of the tunnel and onto the pitch. hopefully you would think, with John Askey's words still ringing in their ear. Joe Ramage, as Mark said, alongside me from the Hartlepool Mail. Plenty of people getting in touch during half-time saying we've gone into our shell after conceding a very poor goal, usual tippy-tappy sideways passing, poor defending, things of that ilk. You kind of get the picture of what the people at home are thinking and saying, Joe. Much the same here in person, watching it from the sidelines.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with any of that, to be honest. You know, you're hoping that on Saturday would have injected something a little bit different, but well, in the first 10-15 minutes you were thinking it did, and then like that message says, you know, they have gone into the shell a little bit, and they need to come back out, because let's face it, you know, this game is still there for them. They can still go on and win this game against a side who are clearly struggling at the bottom of the table, but you know, they've got to come out and do better than what we saw certainly in the second half of that first half.
Doesn't look like there's any changes for either side. Did see the fourth official's board, but he seems to have put it back down again and took that away, so no changes at present. I'm just double checking myself and making sure that is correct. It is.
Richards came on for them.
Okay, Caleb Richards on. Yes, Caleb Richards on for Kidderminster. Hartlepool United, as you were. So Joel Dixon in goal. Back three of Zach Johnson, Manny Onorise and Joe Matic. The wing backs of Jake Hasty and Brodie Patterson. A midfield of Kieran Wallace and Nicky Featherstone, the captain at the base of it, with Tom Crawford and Callum Cook playing a little bit further forward, supplying Manny Dizaruwe up front. The goal from Pool's perspective was an own goal. Tom Crawford with the final touch after a low cross into the penalty area that was turned into the back of the net before Amari Morgan-Smith got the equaliser from, you guessed it, a corner. Pools starting the first half on the back foot, and Tom Crawford losing out in midfield. The ball at the penalty area, the offside flag is up, and just as well that it was, because the ball was low into the 6-yard area and Zach Johnson was having to tap the ball away from underneath his own crossbar, which will only embolden Kidderminster more.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, Askey, he'll barely come out from the dugout there, from the tunnel, and sees Kidderminster on the attack, and it was easy how they got in behind there. You know, I know the offside flags come to the rescue a little bit, but like you say, it'll only give them a little bit more incentive to try and get down that side, and it has been coming down Hartlepool's left-hand side, hasn't it, when they've been under pressure.
And now Hartlepool United, their first attack of the second half, as Dizaruwe dispossessed inside the D. Hastie's overcommitted, so out of position as Hemmings gets it back. And the first touch for Caleb Richards, who thinks twice about clearing the lines and goes to his centre-back. He's now being waved forward, so Caleb Richards coming on in the second half for Sammy Robinson, who's gone off, but a like-for-like replacement at left-back, as Dizaruwe does well to hold off his man and tries to bring others into play. Hasty on the touchline right down in front of us as Pools attack the goal away to our right-hand side, the stand of which houses the travelling Poolies. Now Cook tries a shot, come cross, edge of the area that's blocked. He might get another opportunity after Wallace finds him. Cook into the area, flicked on, header from Crawford that goes wide of the mark and behind for a goal kick. Still Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1, but another opportunity there for Tom Crawford.
Yeah, it was a little bit better. Good cross second time from Cook. You know, like you say, I don't know whether he was trying to go for goal the first time. Thought better about it the second time. Good ball in Crawford. You could see what he was trying to do, meet it and just loop it towards our far corner, but just caught a little bit too much on it and goes wider than the near post.
What needs to change, Joe, in this second half?
The urgency, I think. They need to step it up a gear and, you know, trust in the ability that they've got, because, you know, they are a better side. And we saw that in the first 10-15 minutes when they were knocking it around with that bit of confidence. You know, they need to just get back to that and like I say, trust in their ability. You know, we saw it on Saturday as well. They were brilliant on Saturday, so let's bring that here tonight in the second half, and you should come away with a positive result.
And it does feel like, as Kidderminster win a throw-in, and you can hear the noise around the stadium, and it's not a loud stadium by any stretch. It is very quiet, it is very subdued, and you would expect that with a team that is bottom of the National League. But that being said, it feels like Pools have been drawn into Kidderminster's game.
Yeah, they have, and I think we talked about Callum Cook there. You saw what he did on Saturday. They need to get him involved a little bit more, get Manny Diasure involved in more, just get balls into him, because that's what worked well on Saturday, certainly in the first half, when they were Crawford and Cook were bouncing things off him and buzzing around it, and it goes back to that urgency, doesn't it? They just need to step it up a gear and get them moved around.
Well, Zach Johnson with a throw in for Pools, goes short to Hasty. Oh, and Zach Johnson's giving it straight away to Morgan Smith, and now Lambert can try and feed a ball through towards Hemmings, but Onarise does well to intercept and clear into touch. But again, Pools just sloppy in possession.
That one was the one, he's gone back there. I mentioned it about Kidderminster in the first half being a little bit reserved in how they brought the ball forward. When there was a chance of a more threatening pass in behind, he went reserved to the side. Johnson's trying to go back there when he should have been looking to go forward into the channel, really, for me.
Lambert hits a switch of play out to the right, looking for and finding Maurice McNally, and now Penny in the centre-back position. Caleb Richards down the line to try and find Hemmings, and does. Kidderminster keeping the ball very well early in this second half, moving it around without doing an awful lot up the top end of the pitch.
You see there, you see Nicky Featherston's the first one running forward, where you'd think that he would be sort of the number 6 in midfield, and that would be Crawford or Cook who will be closing that down. So they're just getting pulled around a little bit themselves.
As Crawford clears the ball up into the thick black night sky. It is a very chilly afternoon, and Crawford's caught his man in possession and won it midway inside the opposition half. Goes back to Featherston, and now Wallace looks to try and pull the strings from the base of the midfield. Crawford still nursing that lower back. He did get a thump to it at the end of that first half. Still clearly a little bit sore, but seems to be moving okay for the meantime, as Pools have possession with Manny Onarise on the halfway line. Hits a diagonal, but straight to a red and white shirt, only to then be given straight back to Pools. Wallace into Featherston, the Pools captain for this evening. Crawford finds Cook, back to goal. Hasty's got space on this right-hand side. Cook wanted him to make a run. A diagonal one into the area that didn't come, so Cook had to pick another route. He finds a through ball to Brodie Patterson. That's a better route. That's an even better into Desirue inside the 6-yard area, but he heads it down into the turf behind for a goal kick. A chance that goes begging, as Desirue on this occasion couldn't find the target. Still 1-1.
The form he's in this season, that is a big chance. You know, they've worked it well. Callum Cook did well, because Jake Casey was screaming at him to play it out to the right. Decided against it, worked it back over to the left, played a lovely ball into Patterson, and it's a good cross, you know, whipped into that front post. Diasuri's there. He just needs to really flick it towards the corner, similar to what Morgan Smith did for their goal. Gets a little bit too much on it, like what Crawford did a couple of minutes ago, and goes wider than the near post. But yeah, it was a good chance, but better.
It's a step in the right direction for Pools, as Zach Johnson intercepts a low ball into his half of play. Joe Mattock looking long now for Crawford to chase. A little flicked on header from Alex Penny that goes through to Christian Dibble, the Harriers goalkeeper. 52 minutes on the clock. It is 1-1 on BBC Radio T Sport, on 95 FM, on DAB digital radio, online and on Freeview 722 this evening. As Pools look for back-to-back wins away from home for the first time this season. Their first meeting with Kidderminster in 20 years. Mike Newell was the manager last time these two sides met, as Manny Desirue does well to hold up play and bring in Crawford, who's wide on this near side. Infield now to Hasty, onto that left foot of his. He drills one towards the top corner, and it's touched round the post by the fingertips of Christian Dibble. A top save from him to deny Jake Hasty. Outstretched, but a good save from Dibble to keep it 1-1.
Yeah, great effort. You just wonder whether there was a little bit of frustration in that, because he didn't get the ball from Cook just a couple of minutes ago. He got it from Crawford that time, steps in, you know, and opened up for him, and it was going into the top corner. It needed saving.
We were right behind that. Corner comes into the front post. Onarise doesn't get there. They're claiming for handball, Pools, but nothing given, as Kidderminster are able to clear. Lambert up to the halfway line now for Zach Johnson, who goes all the way back to his goalkeeper in Joel Dixon. Well, that was a big chance for Hasty, but it was a brilliant save from Dibble. We were right behind it. It looked destined for that far corner, didn't it?
Yeah, it was one of them. I think it was going under the bar, and you could see it. Fingertip just took it over. A really good save.
As I mentioned previously, 6 clean sheets for Dibble in the Kidderminster goal. Brodie Patterson, low ball to the front post. It's cleared. Oh, and a slice up into the night sky once more. And now it's cleared to Lambert, who has space to run into. He's got runners to his left and one through the middle in Morgan Smith. Instead he finds Hemmings. Looks to deliver left-footed, but he's over-hit it by some margin. And it ends up out for a throw-in over on the far side. And from a positive position on the pitch, Hemmings just balloons it out of play completely.
Yeah, all of a sudden you think Hartlepool might have been stretched a little bit there. Well, they were, to be honest. It comes down, they were overloaded on the left. And he's very wasteful, isn't it? You know, when you need to be on the money and put it into an area, considering Hartlepool's fragilities defensively from crosses into the box, that was really wayward, really poor.
The voice of Joe Ramage, our summariser this evening from the Hartlepool Mail, as Pool's in possession in this second half. 1-1 in this National League fixture, keeping you up to date with Darlington against Warrington Town in the National League North, and Farsley Celtic against Spennymoor as well. But Pools,
they're stepping it up a little bit.
Yeah,
though,
you can see. Yeah,
they're just getting on the ball a little bit more.
They're starting to find their feet in this second half without really finding the rhythm, though.
Yeah.
Featherstone through the centre of the pitch. Out to his left is Callum Cook. Forward towards Manny Desirue, who's been feeding off scraps this evening, apart from that chance a few moments ago. A header at the front post, but now Pools having to defend with McLean down the right-hand side. He's got bodies inside the area to pick from. Hemmings is one, and he's denied by Dixon. Another big save from the Pools keeper. Ashley Hemmings bursting into the area, but can't find the back of the net. Denied by Joel Dixon. A big save from him to keep it 1-1.
Yeah, it was a ball around the corner again, and McLean got in behind Mattock. He had the run on him, and he put the cross over towards the back post, and Hemmings was there. And to be honest, you're just waiting for the net to go. He should score, but at the same time, it's a brilliant save from Dixon. That's 2 that he's made now in this game.
And it was that pace down the right-hand side, the quality of the delivery.
It was very similar to right at the start of the second half, wasn't it, where he got in behind and he was offside. Tested him for pace, and he got in down at the byline, and it was a good ball across. Hemmings was unmarked at the back post, and like I say, he should score, but at the same time, you've got to give a lot of credit to Dixon there. Stayed big, good save, important save.
2 big saves from both keepers at the start of this second half. We asked for more entertainment, and we've been given it. As Jake Hasty looks to try and find Crawford and loses out, and now Hemmings can accelerate with purpose across the halfway line, but runs into Zach Johnson. Now Pools might turn defence into attack. Hasty looking to stretch the legs of his marker, has to turn back and find Zach Johnson. Infield now to Crawford, who's got a bit of space and time to pick his pass. Goes square to Wallace, who helps it out to the left hand side. It's time for Cook. He's got Brodie Patterson in front of him. Desirue calling for it to feet, but it won't come this time. Cook, he's looking for the pass, isn't he? He's scanning the pitch every time, Cook. That one ball to pick open the defence. Zach Johnson back into the centre of the pitch for Featherstone. Pools with plenty of bodies forward. Can they find that killer pass? Crawford on the touchline on this near side, right down in front of us. Featherstone with the outside of his boot keeps the ball moving to Joe Mattock now. He accelerates out to the left-hand side, exchange passes with Patterson, but Mattock loses out and is wrestling for it by the corner flag. Inventive from the Kidderminster defender, but gives it straight away to Cook.
Yeah, he did well there, defender. He was almost waiting for the foul to come from Mattock, and Mattock did well not to foul him, because we see that so many times, don't you, where just the slightest nudge in the back and they go down. Didn't come, so then he had to clear it, and a bit of an overhead kick, and they've got it away.
Well, Eastleigh have gone 2-1 up against Boreham Wood in the second half. Meanwhile, scores elsewhere much the same as they were at the break. Here, Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1. But it could be, what, it could be 2-2, it could be 3-2, it could be all sorts, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think the worrying thing is Kidderminster have had the best chances of the game, you know. That one in the first half, the Dixon save at near post from McLean, and that one there from Hemmings. They're two really big chances in games.
As Joe Mattock ends up down on the turf, and Pools win a free kick just short of the halfway line. And I do wonder if John Askey will think about changing it. It hasn't had the same sort of oomph about it that we saw against York on Saturday, has it?
No, I mean, I suppose it was always going to be a little bit different. You know, you come into a different ground, different environment, different pitch.
Yes.
You know, everything kind of, he said it himself, didn't he? Everything kind of fell into place and clicked for them on Saturday. It was going to be a different challenge tonight.
Ball out to this near side for Hasty, doesn't quite get there.
But you just go back to the start. When you get that start, it's there for you to kick on and just dominate and dictate the game, and they've allowed it to slip out of their grasp. And now they've got themselves into a battle here.
Yeah, it's turned into more of a game than they probably would have anticipated. And they've gone from potentially cruising to now absolutely being anything but.
Yeah, they're in one. And I mean, you credit Kidderminster for that as well, because when they go behind, you know, that they probably think, no, he will go again. So you credit them.
Dizaruwe looks to try and pick up a loose ball, but loses out in the battle to Rhys McNally, who accelerates to the halfway line. Now finds Lambert, looks to pick the pass, and does to McLean. Right hand side of the penalty area, lifts it up into the box and headed away. Only as far as Hobson. Looks to get it on his left foot. He's shot, takes a deflection and comes off Morgan Smith, who is offside. So Pools have got underway with it quickly here and caught Kidderminster on the hop potentially. Up to the halfway line with Mattock. Cook just needs to be careful. He's barking at the referee, the linesman, anybody who'll listen, as Kidderminster give it away. Featherstone looks to try and keep hold of it and protect the ball as he does so well. Crawford now looks to feed the ball through to Dizaruwe, who is offside.
It's close. We're right in line with that. It's close, isn't it?
He did look off to me, but you're right, it was close. But that's the first real time Pools have been able to pick a pass out to him like that.
Yeah, in terms of looking to get him in behind, change coming, David Ferguson coming on by the looks of it. But yeah, you're right, it's the first time that they've really looked to try and thread that ball through to him on the shoulder. You know, like you said, he's been feeding off scraps a little bit.
Oh, as Jack Lambert finds McLean inside the area once more, has to just double back on himself. Gives it to McNally, who joins the attack down the right-hand side towards the Pools corner flag, delivers a cross right on top of Joel Dixon, who has to pluck that one out of the evening sky. With the scores level at 1-1, just past the hour mark on BBC Radio T Sport. Myself, Rob Law, and Joe Ramage from the Hartlepool Mail with you this evening, describing this one. We'll be back on home soil on Saturday as Bromley come to town in the National League. And at the minute, it will be off the back of a draw. But Pools will try to change that with David Ferguson coming on very shortly. Manny Onorise looks to hit a diagonal ball towards Hasty, who applauds his teammate for the vision. But the ball out for a Pools throw. And now the change will be made. And it's Brodie Patterson who's going to come off. And David Ferguson is going to come onto the field, and a touch of class from Nicky Featherstone there, who passes the armband to Brodie Patterson, who then gives it to David Ferguson, who takes over his captaining duties.
Well, they have been getting in down that side a little bit too often in the start of the second half, McLean. But, you know, Ferguson, he sometimes is a little bit sloppy in defence, and, you know, so he's more forward thinking, isn't he? So it's an interesting one, but Ferguson obviously with a little bit of a point to prove, because he probably expected to come back into the side tonight as well. So, yeah, important sort of half an hour for him.
Yeah, you'd think he'll come on with a bit between his teeth.
Yeah.
And you talk about trying to find Manny Dizaruwe. There's one man who knows how to find him, and that's David Ferguson, the Pools captain. So John Askey has rolled the dice.
Looks like Zach Johnson's come a bit further out to the right here.
Yeah, and there was a message from David Ferguson that had been passed on from Askey, and he gave it Oh, hold that thought, because Ferguson has found Cook straight away with his first touch. Cook in towards Crawford, onto his right foot, needs a bit of help, finds Hasty, edge of the area. Looks promising from Pools as he goes back to Wallace. The message from Ferguson seemed to be for Wallace to move the ball much quicker, as Cook into Desiroué, back to Featherstone now. Ferguson wide on that left-hand side if they can find him. Instead it goes to Cook. Featherstone once more. Pools looking to double up down that left-hand side. Now Ferguson eventually gets it with a white chalk on his boots. Cook, infield, looks for a through ball that is a beautiful ball to Featherstone! He hits it high, he hits it wide, and it remains 1-1, but that was a chance, and another chance that this time goes begging, Joe Ramage.
Yeah, I think it was Preston who was just done enough to put Featherstone off. It was a lovely ball from Callum Cook, and it was a good run from Nicky Featherstone. You know, following up from what he did on Saturday, you don't expect Nicky Featherstone in that position, because you looked when he got in, you look for all the world. You know, if he gets that on anywhere on target, then he's probably going to score. Preston does just enough. I think the main complaint there was that they didn't get a corner out of it. I think that's what Featherstone's gripe was.
You expect Featherstone to hit the target there, wouldn't you?
You probably would, yeah. I know it was on his weaker side, but in that position, yeah, you would have fancied it.
As Pools look to press high up the pitch, Caleb Richards goes long, intercepted by Zach Johnson, who finds Hasty, but just gets beaten in possession, does Hasty. And Kidderminster have a throw-in right down in front of the two benches, as Aldershot have got to go back against Bromley. Bromley 2, Aldershot 1. Meanwhile, Eastleigh 2, Borehamwood 1. Ebbsfleet leading Maidenhead by 1-0. Halifax 1, Fylde 1. Rochdale 1, Altrincham 0. Solihull 0, Gateshead 2. Woking 0, Chesterfield 1. And York 2, Oxford City 0. With the score here, Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1. So you're up to date with scores in the National League this evening. There's 65 minutes on the clock here. And Pools asking a few more questions at least of the Harriers defence in the last few moments.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time in this game, still 25 minutes, so you've got to just think at this point, just keep probing, keep creating chances like that, and something might fall for them.
Wallace finds Cook, who then spins the ball out to the right-hand side for Crawford, looks to run past his man, tried to go past him first time with a give and go, but it didn't come off, and the Harriers can clear deep into the Pools half of play for Joe Mattock to pick up possession and find Featherstone.
Yeah, I mentioned Callum Cook a little bit earlier. He's just started to grow into the game a little bit. He's getting on the ball a little bit more and opening up and finding a couple of passes out wide. As I say that, he's almost give it away there.
And Crawford gets clattered as he gets on the end of it by Lambert. So it is going to be a Pools free kick inside the centre circle. It was actually Kai Lissamore who's going to get a talking to from the referee, Jamie O'Connor. But it is just a talking to with no yellow card. Go back to the atmosphere, Joe, and I whisper it quietly because we are in and amongst it, but very flat, very flat this evening.
Yeah, I think I'd touch on, like I say, there are elements of it where it does feel a little bit like a pre-season
game. Yeah, you're
it's
right.
Odd.
Cook into Featherstone. Pools just trying to find that creative spark that will lift the travelling fans. Jamie O'Connor gets in the way of a ball from Manny on Arise. It's going to be an uncontested drop ball. Everyone loves those, don't they? Said nobody ever. As Pools in possession on the halfway line, and you can see Ashley Hemmings from Kidderminster waving his teammates up the pitch. He thinks they're sitting way too deep. And yeah, you'd have to agree with him at present. It's inviting the Pools pressure on. Should be music to the ears of John Askey. Featherstone finds Cook. Got Desiroué in front of him. Feeds the ball through. It might come through to Hasty, right hand side of the penalty area. Hasty onto the left foot, tries to curl one, and he curls it round the left hand post of Christian Dibble. Another opportunity, and another one that falls away of Jake Hasty. Tried for the speculative effort, wasn't able to find the back of the net. And it's still Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1.
Yeah, when he came onto that, I think he wanted to hit it first time. You know, the ball kind of came through from Cook. Cook might have been going for looking for Diasure, but came through to Hasty towards the back edge of the box, and then took a little bit of a touch to step inside of his man, and you could see what he's trying to do. Just didn't get enough whip on it to come back in from outside the post, wide of the corner. But like I say, they are creating a few more chances here.
Kidderminster getting ready to make a change. Pools have a throw-in over on the far side, so the change incoming for the home side. He's going to see Ben Tollett come on loan from Oldham Athletic, and he's going to replace Jack Lambert. And that's probably the loudest the stadium's been all evening, and it's for the applause of Jack Lambert, who goes off and gets the congratulations of his teammates and his coaches. Ben Tollett comes on to replace him.
Is that Ben Tollett, who was on trial with Hartlepool last summer in pre-season?
Good shout, Joe Ramage. That is
not that I'm writing any scripts here.
But no, well observed. Good memory. You should work in a newspaper or something.
I should.
So, bit of a reset as we tick round to the 70-minute mark. Hartlepool United one apiece here against Kidderminster. Pools open the scoring after 7 minutes. An own goal that came after a low ball into the 6-yard box by Tom Crawford on his 100th appearance for the club. But since then, in that first half, Kidderminster grew into the game, had their opportunities and scored from a corner that was flicked onto the front post by Morgan Smith for his 5th goal of the season. Pools conceding yet again from a set piece. A big save at the end of the first half from Joel Dixon to deny Kidderminster once more, but into the second half, and Pools are growing into this second half. They've had opportunities. There's been a big save again from Joel Dixon in the Pools goal, but this time a ball forward into the Pools box from Caleb Richards, easily gathered by Joel Dixon. And now you've sensed the tempo of the game is shifting up a few gears as Nicky Featherstone looks to accelerate out from the base of midfield. Out to the left-hand side now for David Ferguson, who hasn't had too many touches since he's come onto the field. Wallace wants an option. Crawford provides one. Now out to the left for Ferguson. Looks up into the centre of the pitch. Isn't really an option there for him, so he's forced back to Joe Mattock. On a reset, the deepest lying Pools defender inside his own half. Now Ferguson finds Cook, turns into the centre of the pitch, needs a runner, needs somebody to aim for. He's momentarily dispossessed till Crawford picks it back up. Now Wallace, a heavy touch though, invites the pressure of Ashley Hemmings. Does well Wallace to keep hold of it. Cross into the penalty area is inviting for Dizaruwe, who gets his head to it and draws a save from Dibble away to his left-hand side, who gets something on it to touch it behind for a corner to Pools. But John Askey's men getting closer and asking more questions more frequently of Christian Dibble in the Kidderminster goal.
Yeah, like you say, they just need to keep at this now. It was a good ball in the box, and Disu does everything right, to be honest. Gets his head on it, heads it down, and it's a decent save.
Pools corner then. Featherstone floats one to the back post. A header from Mattock into the centre of the box, but cleared. Callum Cook puts his laces through it, but then rebounds into touch for a Pools throw just short of the penalty box over on the far side. Just check the dugouts to see if there's any further movement of any potential subs. Nothing as yet. Josh Amero on the Pools bench, of course. Joe Gray as well. Two players Askey might look to for an impact from the bench. As Mattock goes all the way back to Manny on a reset. But Manny Dizaruwe with a few opportunities already tonight. I think that's, what, two chances, you would say, 2 good chances for him?
Yeah, the first one in particular, you know, yeah. you would certainly have backed him to hit the target for the first one. You know, he got in front of his man.
You know what they say, 3rd time's a charm. And to be fair, Manny Desirua doesn't normally need 3 invitations to score a goal, does he?
No. If you're Kidderminster, you know, you need to stop giving him chances, really. You don't want to keep inviting it.
Ball into Desirua, inside the area, lays it off for Crawford. It's just a bit heavy, though. And instead, he brings in Joe Mattock once more. Out for Cook. Left-hand side of the penalty area. Now Ferguson at the byline, tries to cut it back. It rebounds for Desirua. On the shot is saved at point-blank range by Dibble once again.
And there's your chance.
That was as close as Pools have come, and the man you'd want it to fall to, Desirua inside the area at point blank range, but Dibble unmoved in the Kidderminster goal, stood big, stood strong, and denied Hartlepool United's top goal scorer this season. Still 1 apiece, and Kidderminster with a man down inside the 6-yard box. So he's going to receive some treatment. That is going to give Pools an opportunity to get the players over to the dugout for some instructions and words of inspiration to try and galvanise his players. But they can't say they haven't had the opportunities, Joe.
No, that one there, you know, that is as good as you're going to get, really. You know, it fell so kindly from Callum Cook again. Lovely little ball slipped into Ferguson. He gets to the byline, low cross, comes off the keeper, and then it loops up so kindly for him on the edge of the 6-yard box. And the defender who's down there now, he sort of slipped out of the game, and he's got a free goal to hit at that. You know, gets a connection on it. For fair credit to the keeper, you know, he comes out and spreads himself well. But from DSU's point of view, he backs himself to score there. You know, it's a really big chance. That's 3.
Yeah.
We're literally just saying it.
I was about to say, Manny Desirua, 12 goals this season, 2 short of last season's total for Halifax. I mean, he could have surpassed that tonight with the opportunities he's had.
Yeah, he could have done. You just got to hope. I mean, the one thing you say, you know, he's getting into the positions, and even if this night doesn't go for him, you know, that's not going to knock his confidence at the moment, the season that he's having. But it's not going to be any less frustrating if Hartlepool don't win this game with the chances that he's had there.
And you can see David Ferguson and Manny Desirua now in conversation, and you suspect that is a conversation to get them both on the same page, because it is a combination that has worked well this season. David Ferguson into Desirua. But as for tonight, Pool's top goal scorer hasn't been able to find a way past Christian Dibble, who's been stubborn in the Kidderminster goal. And the break in play comes to a close, and Rhys McNally is nursing a bit of a sore head and will have to be off the pitch for the next 30 seconds or so while play resumes. So for the moment, Kidderminster down to 10 men. It's still a rule that just makes no sense to anyone, does it? How you can have a player down injured and then be effectively punished for that for 30 seconds is incredible.
Still waiting for him to come back on.
Yeah, Pools. It's 11 v 10 at the minute. Zach Johnson. Square to Honorise. And now
still hasn't
Joe Mattock is still, yes. And you can see the fourth official is checking the watch, and now on comes a defender. So we are back to 11 v 11. There's Zach Johnson. Can't find Jake Hasty and gives away a sloppy throw-in. Well, the minutes all of a sudden, Joe, moving much quicker, and Pools are running out of time to try and find a goal that would give them 3 points. Meanwhile, Ben Tollett is chasing a loose ball over the top, and Pools are just hitting and hoping. As Hobson turns away from his marker, Nicky Featherstone comes in but doesn't get there. Hobson on the attack for Kidderminster, out to the right-hand side for Lissimore. And now McLean stops the ball dead, needs a runner, doesn't quite get one. Not a willing one anyway. And now McNally twisting, turning, trying to get away from Ferguson, but the Pools captain does well to stay with him, and Callum Cook needlessly dives in there and gives away a free kick in a dangerous position for no reason whatsoever. That was
careless.
Careless.
Bit of frustration in there, possibly. You know, he's drifted in and out of the second half. You know, it wasn't his night in the first half. He's been a bit better the second half, but ultimately, probably a bit of a frustrating night for him. And you know, we called it in the first half in terms of just giving them an incentive to get the ball into the box. Well, here's another one.
It is a set piece, everybody. You might want to go and hide behind the sofa for the next minute or two if you're of a nervous disposition. Pools with a free kick to defend, swung in, right-footed, a free header that's saved by Joel Dixon. You can come back out now. It's still 1-1.
But it's there again. It's another free header almost, isn't it? He towers above everyone, and similar to that one in the first half, he should do better, to be honest. You know, Dixon's in the right place, fair play to him, he saves it, but you call it in terms of going behind the sofa from a set piece. I wish I could.
Yes. Yeah, sadly, we've got a job to do here, Joe, as Crawford cushions a header to Nicky Featherstone. Looks to try and find a ball through to Cook, but back it comes towards Featherstone, fighting for it, and does well to brush his man off the ball. The former Pools captain, Wallace, just keeps the ball ticking in midfield, out to Joe Mattock on the halfway line. 79 minutes have elapsed, it's 1-1. Cook with the ball in towards Crawford, controls it on the chest and then goes down inside the area. He's claiming he was shoved, but nothing given. And now Alex Penny accelerates over the halfway line. Pools are scrambling back, trying to win it. And then Jake Hastie has been fouled, and Pools take the free kick quickly. Kidderminster have committed an awful lot of bodies forward, but now they get back as Cook goes out to the left-hand side for Ferguson. And the Pools captain does well to keep it in, and wrestles with his man and wins a free kick for good measure. And now it's Hartlepool United's turn to try and put their opposition back to the wall from a set piece. There's going to be a yellow card here as well. And I think it's Rhys McAnally who is going to find himself in the referee's book. It is a yellow card for Rhys McAnally, so it's 1-1 on the yellow card stakes as well. 10 minutes to go. Pools with a free kick, wide on the left-hand side. It's like a yard in from the touchline, isn't it? Nicky Featherstone to deliver, right-footed. Crawford's in there, Onarise, Manny Desirue, Hastie as well. But there's a sea of red and white. Featherstone floats it in. Desirue with a header, but pushing and shoving has given away a free kick to the home side with 9 minutes left to play. And Kidderminster trying to play out from the back, just igniting the interest of the Pools forwards momentarily. Oh, sloppy clearance from the goalkeeper, goes straight to Kieran Wallace, and then he fouls his man, and that was a nasty collision. But this evening is quickly getting away from Pools and turning into a frustrating night.
Yeah, you mentioned it there about the clock ticking in. Yeah, we're into the final 10 minutes now, and this is where a little bit of sort of panic sets in, a little bit more frustration, and you try and rush things where things just haven't worked out. You know, they have had a couple of opportunities in the second half. You know, the couple of crosses into the box, Diasuru, we mentioned, had a couple of chances as well, but yeah, frustrating night given how it started.
Frustrating for Kieran Wallace as well, who gets a yellow card. Frustrating as well for Bromley, who come to Pools on Saturday. 2-0 up, now 2-2 against Aldershot. So free kick to the home side, but it's deep inside their own half. Alex Penny looks to hit a diagonal ball, and it's headed back the way it came, up towards Desirue, who does well to win it in the air, controls it on the chest. He's got runners off him. Crawford to his right, Desirue still going. He's got red and white shirts all around him. He's inside the area, Desirue. Then he lays it off to the right hand side for Crawford, twisting and turning towards a touchline. Does well, Crawford, to find Hastie. Left-footed, takes a deflection and goes behind for a corner. But good endeavour from Pools, that never say die attitude.
Yeah, it was good run from Diasuru, wasn't he? It looked as though he was fouled and he could have gone down. He stayed up true to him. I think he was trying to just get a little sight of goal to try and have a go in that corner. And then Crawford again, it looked as though he was fouled on this far side.
Yeah,
he did well to stay up and find Hastie, who's, you know, whipped another one in corner now though.
As Bromley have had a man sent off. Corner to Pools. It's 1-1. BBC Radio T Sport. As referee Jamie O'Connor just having a conversation with the massive players that are gathered around the front post of Christian Dibble's goal. Manny Dizaroué is a lone striker around the penalty spot, trying to get the run on his man. The corner delivered to the front post. It comes all the way through and cleared back to Featherstone. Edge of the area. Feints this way and that. Encroaching inside the box now. Featherstone onto his left foot, trying to find a way through. Instead he gives it to Cook. He delivers high into the box. Onarise with a header. That would have been a one for the collection book if Onarise had scored. I think it's been 12 months since his last one. Pools from the clearance get a throw in.
It was a good corner from Nicky Featherstone, that though.
It was. 6 minutes left to play. Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1 in the National League. Pools looking for that back-to-back away win, their first of the season, but Kidderminster stubborn in their resistance in the second half. Pools with big chances and even bigger saves from Christian Dibble in the opposition goal. Pools looking like the team that could win it, as a shot from Crawford is palmed behind for another corner to John Askey's men. Pools' fifth of the evening.
That's 2-1-6-3 with 132 travelling supporters.
Well, the attendance confirmed 2,163 with 132 travelling poolies in attendance. Pools with the corner. Featherstone flicked onto the front post. A header from Hasty that hits the back post. And Dizaroué, it's still alive for him. Tries to win another corner, but instead will have to settle for a throw-in. But it was Hasty at the front post, just flicked it back. Didn't know anything about it. But it looked to come off the cross-section between the post and the crossbar.
Yeah, it was soon at the corner just before, when it was a really good one at near post, and this time they've obviously worked on it again. Hasty meets it loose, like you said, towards the back post, and comes off the angle of post and bar. You just think if someone's following in there, they've got an empty net to knock that into.
You talk about frustration. Well, Tom Crawford has just played the ball back to Jake Hasty, who was offside. So Pools, from being up by the Kidderminster corner flag, are now conceded a free kick, which will allow the home side to get it into the Pools half of play for the first time in what feels like an age. This last 15 minutes has been all Hartlepool United, but they haven't been able to make it count. As Morgan Smith wins the ball on the halfway line. Hobson with a diagonal ball that Ferguson will have to watch closely, because Hemmings is there and picks up possession wide on the right hand side. Tries to drift past Ferguson. Hemmings now to Hobson, out to this left hand side, the near side as we watch on. Tollett tries to sidestep Featherstone and play one in the penalty area, but it's boomed away by Manny Onarise, and it's Kidderminster's turn to have possession, and Tollett with a shot that is a daisy cutter and is dragged well wide of the mark with very little power behind it. So less than 5 minutes left to play, plus stoppage time. Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1. As David Ferguson is struggling a little bit here, it looks like. Seems to have a problem with either his vision or has been caught in the face. But Joel Dixon to take this goal kick as we enter the 87th minute on BBC Radio T Sport. Manny Dizaroué finds Featherstone, now to Wallace. Is there a final twist in this game? A game that, as Joe Ramage from the Hartlepool Mail has quite rightly described at times, felt like a pre-season friendly. It's been that sort of atmosphere. Pools have certainly turned up the tempo in the last 15 minutes or so, but are yet to find a winning goal. It is 1-1. As Joel Dixon searches long for Dizaroué, he wins the header out to this near side for Jake Hasty. Space to run into, but he's rapidly having that space eroded in front of him. Finds a way through to Crawford, circles back towards Wallace, keeps the ball moving to Dizaroué, who's 30 yards out from goal, having his shirt pulled, but he still finds Crawford. Now Onarise and Wallace combine inside the centre circle as Pools shift the ball from right to left. Now Ferguson quickens the pace somewhat as he finds Cook over on the far side, and Cook is dispossessed, but Pools have a throw in, and there's going to be a change made, and Joe Gray is going to come on, and he's going to replace Tom Crawford, who bows out, having made his 100th appearance for the club. And Crawford at times in that first half looked like a one-man band to try and find the back of the net. It was his low cross that led to an own goal, but with a minute of the 90 left to play, Joe Gray comes on. So a roll of the dice from John Askey. It looks like Kidderminster are readying a change of their own, but for now we play on.
Yeah, I think Tom Crawford's had a decent game, to be fair. I think he was very good in the first half, and quite threatening still in the second half as well.
Been
Decent
busy,
break,
hasn't he? Yeah. And a chance for Joe Gray now, who's had illness in recent weeks, so has been out of the team and the picture altogether. But we know he can finish. He's certainly got goals in his locker. And now a foul from Pools. And Kidderminster are going to have chance now for a free kick and for a change to be made. And it's going to be Zach Brown who comes on. And he's going to replace number 18, Kai Lissamore, who comes off to a smattering of applause. Kai Lissamore, 19 years of age, yet to score this season. An academy graduate, one of their own here in Kidderminster. And Zach Brown coming on to replace him.
And the fourth officials indicated a minimum of 4 minutes added time.
And as you hear, 4 minutes of stoppage time, which we're into now. So this game hinges on the next 4 minutes. Free kick from Kidderminster, headed away by Manny Dizarouwe. Joe Gray accelerating to try and get on the end of that loose ball. Can't quite make it count. Kieran Wallace finds Dizarouwe. Joe Gray's made a run. He's got a runner out to the right-hand side. He finds Gray, tries to feed it through to Hasty, but it's intercepted at the vital moment. Might break for Hasty, a wicked rebound. The ball gets caught underneath his feet. Still wriggling around for Hasty inside the box, and eventually cleared by Kidderminster out into touch for a Pools throw. We'll be over to Ray Simpson very shortly for a goal between Darlington and Warrington. We'll do that next time this ball goes out of play as Pools on the attack. David Ferguson trying to feed a ball through, but it's a throw-in that's going to be taken quickly. Ferguson goes back to Wallace, and now Joe Mattock. As Pools are going to look to go long here. We've got 3 minutes to try and find a winner. And it's out of play once again. David Ferguson takes it so quickly though. Mattock. And that one goes into the stand. So let's go over to Ray Simpson watching Darlington against Warrington.
It's Darlington 1, Warrington 1. Quakers have dominated the second half, but they haven't been able to score the second goal. And in the last minute of normal time, a corner kick was curled into the knee post. Taylor punched it away, but only as far as Woods, who volleyed the ball into the roof of the net. It's Darlington 1, Warrington 1.
Oh, when you looks out, isn't it? As Quakers looked to be on their way to 3 points, but that has been denied by Warrington Town, who score an equaliser right at the death. Here we've got 2 minutes left to play. Kidderminster in possession as Joe Gray appeals for a throw-in, but his appeals fall on deaf ears, and the throw-in has gone the way of the home side, with Caleb Richards taking his time about it. This would be seen as a good point for Kidderminster, I would suspect.
Yeah, it would be. Again, after the start, they'd have taken that, and you know they've had 2 good chances in this game as well. When you think of McLean's in the first half and Hemmings at the start of the second half, since that Hemmings chance, Hartlepool they've stepped things up a little bit and they've created some chances themselves.
Oh, a loose back pass towards Joel Dixon that almost ended in the back of his own net. It looked to be, was it Joe Mattock there, I think, with a back pass?
Can you imagine if that went in?
I mean, he totally misread where Joel Dixon was But once again, Pools almost making it easy for Kidderminster. Desiree wins it and then is quickly closed down. Pools have a throw-in midway inside the Kidderminster half. Final 60 seconds of play. It's 1-1. It's BBC Radio T Sport in the National League. Pools at Kidderminster. After the win against York City, Pools were desperate to back up that win with another victory here against the team bottom of the National League table, but instead they might yet have to settle for a point. Joel Dixon with the ball at his feet, launches it long, up to nobody but a red and white shirt. Pools pick up the second ball with Wallace, but he has a heavy touch, which opens it up for the home side to regain possession and hit in towards the channel. Nobody there though for the home side, and Joe Mattick will let it run out of play for a Pools goal kick. John Askey just checking with the fourth official how much time is left, but Joe, you would suspect that that will be about that.
Yeah, I think so. That's it.
And the referee checks his watch and blows his whistle. It's a point apiece, and a point the Pools will have to settle for against the team bottom of the National League table. It looked like it was going to be a comfortable evening for them though, after 7 minutes, when Tom Crawford drilled a low ball into the 6-yard box that was turned into the back of the net. An own goal for Kidderminster. And Pools at that point were cruising, but it quickly turned into a difficult and troublesome evening as the home side grew into the game and asked big questions of Joel Dixon, who throughout the game served up big save after big save to keep Pools in it. But the resistance broken after the half-hour mark when Amari Morgan latched onto the end of a corner, floated into the front post, and the Harriers striker glancing header into the back of the net to level the scoring. And in the second half, Pools going close on a number of occasions. A big save from Christian Dibble to deny Jake Hasty a curling effort towards the top corner. He denied Manny Desiree on numerous occasions from close range, but it wasn't all Pools' way in the second 45, with Joel Dixon again called upon, saving from Hemmings. A low ball into the area that fell through to the Kidderminster forward, who just had to slip it either side of Joel Dixon, but Dixon made himself big and denied Hemmings again from close range. And in the end, Hartlepool United settle for a point on the road. It finishes Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1. Joe, your final thoughts and your man of the match as well, if there is one in there.
I think I'd give my man of the match to Crawford, who, like you said, busy's a good word to someone. He was lively in the first half in particular. He'll take the credit for the goal. It was a little bit unfortunate with the header at the start of the second half as well. For the night as a whole, it's just frustration, isn't it? Because it was there for them. I mean, you're looking at the players walking off here, they look a little bit dejected, looks a little bit more defeatist rather than as though they've picked a point up or picked 3 points up if they'd have won the game, you know. So that kind of tells its own story. Yeah, it was there for them. The first 15-20 minutes of the game was there for them to go on and really dominate and dictate and enjoy a comfortable night's work. But then they've made hard work of it. They've given another awful goal away from a set piece. Again, you know what's coming from John Askey in a few minutes' time when we go and speak to him. But they just don't learn from it. Second half, they were lucky not to fall behind. You know, Kidderminster had a good chance at the end of the first half and a really good chance to start the second half. After that chance, that kind of livened them up a little bit. It was almost a kick up the backside, and they did dominate towards the end of that game. And they created some good chances. They could have scored. You know, Desiree missed 2 really good chances in that second half. But that's the way that it goes, and it's frustrating. And after Saturday, you're thinking, can we go and string back-to-back wins together? In the next couple of days, you'll think, oh, 4 points on the road isn't too bad, but adds a little bit of pressure on Saturday now against a strong Bromley team.
It was far from a classic, Mark, and nobody will remember this one come the end of the season. All that it will read is Kidderminster 1, Hartlepool United 1.